Hi, I want to talk about the times after the empire collapses and people of the empire, or it could be the British Empire or the Turks after Ottoman, or the Americans right now, that they have to go back to their own lives. Whatever there is left, whatever that has any kind of meaning, any kind of and it's not gonna be easy on the brain because many people, many citizens of the empire believe in all this bullshit, all these ideology, all these things that instigates for wars, all these assumptions about the future, all these very rotten relations they have with their neighbors, like with the Iranians in the United States, or the Mexicans, or the Chicanos, or the blacks. There are all these groups in the empire that they they have zero political participation. They have very limited legal rights, and they gradually have to come back into like kind of some kind of normalcy, normal relationships that different people will become important, not based on their rankings according to CIA or deep state, or but according to their utility or value to family, or how much the society admires them. It will become more meritocracy than despotic and military kind of rule from top to bottom. And I see this happening. Usually, the way I go about constructing a theory of how societies or where it's going is by looking at anecdotal incidences that happen in my own daily life, and also I use other progressive kind of commentators. I listen to Celente's videos every week, and also Peter Schiff, and also Kaiser Report. Well, it will take some time for people to. It's like you take a piece of plastic and very severely deform this piece of plastic. Well, when you let go, the the plastic has some elasticity, but you have already deformed it greatly. So there has been damage. It has been parts of it have been dislocated or changed, but some parts they have some natural elasticity. They try to go back to the form that they had before all this shit happened. Well, one of the things that I see a lot is all the mega structures, all the buildings, all the huge office buildings, huge malls, huge houses, uh, huge schools that nobody wants to go to anymore. All kinds of buildings and infrastructures that society used to want, or all kinds of money was pouring in by stupid investors, and then that money is gone. The society, or whatever is left of society, is gradually kind of trying to get back into some kind of normalcy. But usually, I think the people who were the most beneficiary of of such arrangements, such a militant state that kept itself and everybody in a state of war and fear, the, the, the people who are going to have the most difficult times going back to normal are going to be the ones that were the most admired, and they were on the top of the food chain, which is like the white male, and they their descendants, the millennial male, white, and then they are living in a society which there is no correspondence to all the bullshit and militarism and favoritism that was bestowed on them from the past. Uh, they're like they're carrying all this ideology that doesn't correspond to their lives. And while I was walking, I had decided to go to my gym, and I didn't want to take my car. There's this kind of like a 8 cylinder. It eats too much gas, so I parked the car and went went to the store and got because I'm 60 and also I'm disabled. I get bus passes. For me, the bus passes are very cheap. They're like $1.35 or $1.50 a whole day. So I took the bus, went all the way, and got my exercise, and I took shower. I came back, and I had a sack where I keep the stuff in. So when I was walking under this bridge, and then I wasn't paying attention. I saw like three white guys, millennials. They were all homeless, and there was this girl, white girl, and the millennials, the now homeless millennials, they started shouting at me, "Oh, give us something! Give us the money! Give us $10! Give us 20!" So I ain't got no money for you. You can go get a job. I also, these guys were, you know how there's a slope on the bridges, and then there's a little kind of cul-de-sac level area before it really joins the top of the bridge. And they were gone in there, and three of them and a girl. They were like sleeping in there, and the girl, she came down and she didn't pay any attention to me. She was a white girl, and she just went on her own. And then I just kind of walked to my house. So I think this is like an incident. It just shows that the future kind of reflects in this little incident that these guys, the white male guys, they are getting used to their new home, new lifestyle, or homeless, drugs or gay, and they'll be getting ready to move from their bunker under the bridge to some FEMA camp, middle of America. Well, Salente talks about this, that we have all this land and we have to make agriculture, like la la la. It's like all these trash these guys have collected in their head is like a kind of mental disability that they are unable to function in society as it exists or as it's evolving to be. In our society, it's not that hard to get a job. There are many empty jobs, and also it's not that hard to find a place to live in. You just have to have some motivation. But these guys, they're used to a lifestyle that the economy will not support anymore. Many of them are on drugs. The drugs are expensive. The consequences of it and violence that comes from it, it's costly. The system is still set up to deal with it from the past. The lawyers are expensive. If you end up in jail, then getting back into society is difficult. They don't belong because they are from a different era. And Well, when I was living in Mission Viejo, I guess there is they have a school or some kind of program where these people who are really mentally and developmentally behind, like uh, they have not only mental but also physical handicaps. So this school or program, they kind of chaperone them. And I was going through my pharmacy. I met one of these guys. I said, "You're working now. He was like, yeah, assistant manager, cashier." I said, "Oh my God, I always saw you over there going around with the bus. I was taking the bus with you, and you're now moving up." He was very nice, very respectable, very nicely dressed clerk, and he said yes, and thank you. He was also very polite, doing all the stuff that the assistant manager would do. And he gave me my receipt and my change, and we chatted a little bit, and I went on my way. I was also walking through Walmart. I also met two more of these guys, the guys that in the past were very disadvantaged society. Now society has changed, and these guys are moving up. That's a really weird, but you know, uh, have you seen these old movies? Like there is this mad scientist, and the mad scientist, probably has IQ of 200, and his assistant is also is somebody like that. Is developmentally disabled, but they they are like friends, and they talk to each other. That's it's so eerie and weird. But once you fall out of the society's normal ways of thinking, intelligence, then the other people, animals, and or other people that are in a much further level on the spectrum, they kind of become friends because they have some things that they share. They are not screwed in the head like those guys under the bridge. But then another thing that happens, well, in the Kaiser report, she was saying that after the empire, many people, they're gonna enjoy a much better standard of living, much more richer life. I think this is gonna start with women, uh, because women they care about their standing in society. Like she won't date you if you are not making certain salary, or you don't look great. You don't look like a, preppy or uppity kind of mobile young white male. But, but when that society has completely collapsed, then there is all these women that have gone back to work. They don't carry all this trash in their heads, and they are the ones with income, and the social norms are changing. The men that are left, that are not either gay or drug addict, or they're not shipping to FEMA camp, these men will become, or are becoming like me. They are becoming very important, and I think my sex life and my love life is gonna really improve. I'm gonna end up with several girlfriends. Well, I have two. They're both from Azerbaijan. They're both very pretty, and they both pay a lot of attention to me. And I'm gonna put up their pictures. But I like blondes too. I like have a couple of nice blondes to hang around with, and I think these changes are positive because society is unshackling itself from the ideology, from the screwed up ways of thinking and living, and extreme distortions in every market, in the housing market, in the educational market, extreme distortions and beliefs in the political spectrum. The big cities will become like small towns. They're they're really mad that only a fraction of the people that live right now here or lived in the past, they live here, and all this stuff that's left is going to be used in a more intelligent way, more priced more correctly and reflect the income. And also, the things that will become important are very strange. For example, I was applying for a couple of jobs, and these companies, they're very good companies. They both ran a background check, and they didn't tell me anything about it. So after about a week, I kept calling for both of them. They kept calling me, and then the girl in the front, she said, "Oh, your background check came in, and it was pretty. You passed." And they said, "You're very welcome to come in now. We want to offer you." Actually, I talked to the boss, and he was ready to give me uniform. Same happened with the other company, but the other company, they gave me a job right away, and so I don't know. I have two jobs now. So, but not doing drugs, not having a criminal records, not being messed up mentally, not being gay, so you can function in society, have good relations with people, not to be violent, not to be having psychotic episodes like many American veterans that and people are not being worried about you all the time. These are like skills or skill sets or values, and because society is mostly women now, and they want to live at peace and they have an income, they things are changing. Things that were not valuable in the past in the empire, they're becoming very valuable now, and things that were very valuable back then, they become stuff that society is trying to kind of skirt by it. Well, a lot of things like patriotism and going to war, very strong support for Israel, and being a macho, violent guy, they were treasured in the past because the state was involved in so much warfare, creates so much fear, and now these qualities, they're like something that's hanging on people's neck. And those are not the qualities that society wants. Well, there was a verse in Quran that they were reading in temple, and it went like this: how many such oppressive and despotic societies that we destroyed in the past, and from them, just like it from us, we brought forth a different nation, which means that like society, there will be a society, there will be a markets, but it will not be this past. It will not look like